The USA is the 8th richest country in the world today, and yet it is a dinosaur when it comes to financial banking. Before we get into today's video though, here's a question for you. There's something that the USA and Canada have, which most of the European countries do not. It's small, it can be powerful, it can make you rich, it can also make you poor. You can also use it to steal money or you can use it to help somebody. Many Europeans would agree it actually belongs in a museum. Can you guess what it is? I will tell you soon. If you are new here, I am Jay and my other half is Stephan, who is behind the camera. Together we are Jay Stephan. Half of the year we live here in Southern California and the other half we live in Germany. It has been reported by many financial journalists that the banking and the most financial institutions in the USA are designed to make money off of the poor. But are they really? And if they are, then is there a solution? The answer is yes. There is a solution, but we will get into that later. Around the world, banking is typically viewed as a safe, stable, and proper way to manage your finances. But in the United States, it is not really the case. What if I told you that the business of banking in the USA is strategically structured to feed off of the poor? It is an evil business of trying to keep the poor poor. Because if it wasn't for the poor, the banks would not survive. In certain poor areas of the United States of America, a lot of banks have closed because the poor do not trust the banks, and therefore they left their banks. I could get into lengthy explanations of why the poor choose not to have a bank account, but I think it's best if I show you. There are many variations of this and many factors that play into this. Let's look at someone who is making minimum wage here in Southern California area. The minimum wage here is $15 an hour. Most companies pay every 2 weeks, so based on a work week of 40 hours a week, the bi-weekly paycheck would be for 80 hours. The estimated take-home pay after deductions will be $960. The deductions are federal and state taxes. If we take the $960 and times it by 2, we get $1,920 for every 4 weeks. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Southern California is $1,525. Let's do the math. If we start at a balance of $1,920, after we pay the rent, we are left with $395. The average electricity and gas for a one-bedroom is around $100. I calculated groceries at about $50 a week, which honestly is very difficult to do, but only possible if majority of your diet was processed foods. After you pay for your phone and internet, which are essential today, we are left with only $25 in your bank account, which is extremely difficult to live on. I know at this point a lot of you are probably thinking, well, California is very expensive. So if we take a different state where the cost of living is a lot lower, the numbers don't really work out either. The minimum wage is adjusted accordingly. I randomly chose Wichita, Kansas. Well, kind of randomly because I had actually worked there for many years. So I chose Wichita, Kansas. The minimum wage there is $7.25. If we apply the same structure as before, our take-home pay after deductions will be $481 for every 2 weeks. The deductions are also for the federal and state taxes, which gives us $962 every 4 weeks. The average rent for a one-bedroom is $625. Electricity and gas are also at an average of $100 for a one-bedroom. The cost of groceries is also about the same, so I added $50 a week at $200 for the month. Phone and internet are also on average the same. After paying these basic bills, you are left with a negative $33. There are subsidized programs that people can apply for, such as food stamps, but that is very minimal, roughly around $200 worth of food stamps per month, which I'm aware of here in California. There's also subsidized housing, such as Section 8, but currently there is a shortage of that. In California, the wait time to get into this program is currently at 4 to 5 years. And that's why for many, this hardship of living from paycheck to paycheck is far too real. Going back to the point of this video though, why nearly 25% of Americans either don't have a bank account or have very limited interaction with the banks. If a person who's making minimum wage or close to minimum wage, going into a bank doesn't make any sense. Here's why. The major banks in the USA are not free unless you maintain a minimum balance, which means the odds are already stacked against the poor. Most banks require 1,000 and sometimes even a lot more as a minimum balance to avoid monthly charges. The monthly charges can vary between $10 to $15 per month. This is just one single charge. Here is a multitude of other charges that the bank will charge their customers. Let's take Wells Fargo, for example. If someone has an out-of-network ATM withdrawal, the fee will be $2.50. For a returned item, it would be $12. For an overdraft fee, it would be $35. A wire transfer fee for going out is $30 and for incoming is $15. And these are only a few of the many fees. So for example, if someone who has $25 left in their bank account and they paid someone $26, not knowing that they're $1 short, the bank could charge them $35 for that transaction, plus to pay a $12 monthly account fee, and now you are left with negative $22 in your bank account. And that is why in a survey conducted by FDIC found that there were 8.4 million households in the USA today who do not have a bank account, with an additional about 24 million who are underbanked, meaning that they have very limited participation with a traditional financial institution. This is why in the USA and in Canada, you will find something which does not exist in Germany, possibly maybe in Europe as well. Something called check cashing stores. Another thing which does not exist in Germany, which I was referring to in the beginning of this video, is the use of personal check. This right here is very archaic and probably belongs in a museum. Yes, I know, it's embarrassing, but the USA still uses paper checks and it is still very popular. Going back to check cashing stores, these places are privately owned businesses where someone without a bank account is able to access their money by paying a fee. Someone who has a paycheck or a government check, such as a social security check, check cashing services will verify your identity, cash your check, and give you the money immediately minus a fee. Instead of depositing the check into a bank account or a credit union, you walk into these check cashing storefronts, which immediately give you cash. Most people use the service to cash in their payroll checks, and the average fee for a payroll is around 3%. So for someone who has a check for, let's say, $500 of their paycheck, they could cash it in by paying a fee of $15. They no longer have to deal with the banks and all the possible fees that could come along with the bank. But here is a problem. This limits the public in so many ways. You are unable to establish proper credit and financial stability without having a bank account. There's so much opportunity that they miss out on without having to show for a bank account. This is where I'm kind of fascinated with Germany. In the US, the personal checking account is used for paying bills, buying goods and services, and checks are made payable to an individual or to a company. Unlike Americans, Germans don't use personal checks. They use something called Überweisung, which in English is money transfer made out to an account number or to the name of the account holder. Also, if you overdraw your account, the banking system works completely differently. You can establish a line of credit, which is called a dispo, and typically it is 2 to 3 times your monthly pay or income. Once you have this established, you can overdraw your account to this agreed amount, and the bank will charge an interest usually between 11 and 18%, which from an American perspective, it's pretty darn good because Americans end up paying a lot more interest on credit cards. So essentially in Germany, overdrafts are treated like credit. And it seems far more financially productive and fair than charging high fees and the stress that comes with it. If you are watching from the USA and if you are in this situation, you do have an option here in the USA. Currently, there are many online banks which offer accounts with no fees. These are my top 3 banks after reading an article about them. I haven't personally experienced it, which have no fees, and instead you are able to earn interest on your money. Capital One, Ally Interest Checking, and Axos. I will also leave the link to these banks in the description. I am not affiliated. This video is not affiliated. It's just for informative purposes to help anyone out there that is in a situation that we're talking about. But to my European YouTube family, let me know what your thoughts are on this. And for the American viewers who are going through this, hang in there because the world is changing and I believe it is changing for the better. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the comments.